Let's make an easy crochet bow with an I-cord. First, you want to take size 4 yarn and a size 5 hook. You could also use between size 4 and 6 depending on how tight you want your cord to be. Next, we're going to measure the yarn to be about the length of the hook 12 times. So pull out the yarn the length of the hook 12 times or anywhere between 8 to 12 depending on the length that you want. For the bow that I showed in the beginning, we'll be doing it 12 times. This is a very loose measurement. It doesn't have to be exact at all. But once you get to the length that you want, we will be pinching the yarn right there in the middle and creating a slip knot. The easiest way to do that is to twist to create a loop, then pull a small part of that tail of yarn through to create the slip knot. Next, put your hook through the slip knot, pull it a little bit to make sure it's tight on the hook but still has space to make some loops. Next, we're going to take the tail of the yarn and wrap it over the hook to create a second loop. The tail is the part that's not attached to the ball of the yarn. It's the one we just pulled out. Wrapping the tail over created another loop on the hook. Then we'll take the working yarn, the part that's attached to the yarn ball, and pull it through. These are the steps that we're going to be repeating the whole time. Wrapping the tail over to create 2 loops, and then pulling the working yarn, the side that's attached to the yarn ball, through there. So here we go, creating that loop, and then pulling the working side through both loops, using the tail, wrapping it over, and pulling the working side through. While it's still short, it's going to be a little bit hard to handle. You see it's kind of flopping around, but as it gets longer, you'll be able to hold the cord, and that will keep it stable while you continue to make the loops and pull the working side through. The cord will just get longer from here, and we'll just repeat this process all the way until we get to the end of the tail of yarn. This is the I-cord right here. I've zoomed in a little bit so you can see. Once again, wrapping the tail over and pulling the working side through. If your yarn is shorter, you'll do this less times, but the longer your yarn is, the more of these little stitches that you'll have to create. It looks very similar to a single crochet stitch, like a foundation single crochet stitch. But I think it's also a similar technique, but don't quote me on that. If you do know how to do foundation single crochet, you can let me know in the comments if it's similar. Now we're getting to the end. So we're just creating as many loops as we can using this last little piece of yarn. I think this will be the last one. And then once we're done, we're going to pull that tail of yarn through that loop to create a knot. And that's what will secure the end of the cord. So go ahead and pull that tight, and then we'll be cutting the yarn off from the ball. So here's our cord right here. We successfully made this I-cord. I'm gonna go ahead and use my crochet hook. You can use a yarn needle if you want, but I'm just gonna weave the end of the yarn that we just cut off into the cord so it's not dangling out, and it'll also create a little bit more of a finished edge near that knot right there. Once we go ahead and weave that in, then the cord will be done, and then we'll be able to turn it into an I-cord bow, or you can just use this cord for any other, pouch string, drawstring, anything else you need. But to turn it into a bow, we're going to tie it as if we were tying a shoelace, right? That's the easiest way to make a bow. So we'll start by going to the middle of the bow. Then here I'm creating 2 loops and pulling them through each other to create that knot in the center and the 2 loops of the bow. Then you can just adjust both sides of the bow so that they're the same size, and you're done. You can stick a hair clip through this to add it as a hair accessory, or tie it on a bag or belt loop, anything that you want to accessorize and spice up. So there you go, an easy crochet I-cord bow. Comment if you have any questions on how to make this below.